Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Social Z Franchise Happy Hour. I'm Calvin Smith, the host, as usual, back in very hot and humid Destin, Florida. It's, I think, 89 degrees at the peak today. Great day to go jump in the water. But super excited to get to finish my day talking to Mr. Tim Andrews, who is in Medina, Ohio. So, Tim, how are you? And tell us something about Medina, Ohio. What's cool about it?
Medina, Ohio. Yeah, this is it's a beautiful little town. About it's not too small, 25,000 people with the nice Victorian, circle square, and kind of rural. Kind of west of Akron, south of Cleveland, almost where they intersect.
Gotcha.
Great.
Gotcha. Awesome. And Tim, where are you from originally? Did you grow up there? Tell us about your childhood and how did you end up in Medina?
Yeah, well, I grew up in the thriving metropolis of Doylestown, Ohio, which is even smaller.
Okay.
Lived
Gotcha.
I'll moved to Cleveland. Moved to Cleveland for a little while and met somebody, was married for quite a while. We moved back down here into Medina County and have always been living out here kind of in the stick. So
Sure.
it's kind of nice. I like, I don't want to be out of touch, but just far enough away I can get away if I want to, get out in the backyard and enjoy nature a little bit.
Sure. So you went to Chippewa, is it Chippewa? Chippewa High School? Where's
Chippewa,
Chippewa?
yep.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to
Where
old.
is that, how far is that from where you are now?
Probably 45 minutes. My mom
Okay.
still lives in the house that we grew up in, so
Yeah.
uh, get down there to see her every once in a while. That's nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Tim, we want to hear a lot about your story, how you got into franchising and got, in your path to entrepreneurship. But, I was looking at your background on LinkedIn and you've had a variety of things. It looks like, your first thing on here, you started out at Brown Derby as a restaurant manager. How did you
Yeah.
end up doing that?
Well, I got to tell you, I've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I've been a restaurant manager. I've been a furniture store manager. I owned a furniture store. I've even done sang country western, written some songs. I've been in comedy, stand up comedy.
Yeah.
I've and just a little bit of everything. A jack of all trades, master of none, I guess. But uh,
Sure.
but yeah, I got into. I actually started in business. Um, I worked for FedEx as a courier for 20 years too. So I started
Wow.
on the side there, and it was the Amish furniture business. I started. We designed and made like a shelf to hang Longaberger baskets when those were all the rage. So
Yeah.
it was a basket we used shelf, and we used to sell those, and the Amish would make them. And then I ended up buying into an Amish furniture store. I thought I had it all figured out. It was right by an antique mall, and I thought, hey, if they can get it there, they can come over. I could have it made for them. Well, bottom line is, I was, thought it made sense. I thought I knew it all, and basically, it was just a horrible failure at that location because it was a destination place. They went to the antique mall, they came back. So, as a result of that, I closed the store. I had a friend that did, he did websites and things at the time, and just when the web was starting to take off, right? And so I actually moved everything over to the World Wide Web, and actually I was the very first um, Amish furniture store to ever go on the internet on the web.
Really?
So
Yeah.
yeah, got a lot of play. I got the Akron Beacon Journal did a story on it. The AP Wire picked it up. Started getting calls from radio stations. The local TV station came down and did a story. It was just all about the Amish and technology. They just don't jibe, right? So they thought, they said it used to be I remember the reporter said at the intro, in the old days, the only mice that the Amish saw were in their barns. Right now, the mouse, they hit the mouse to the
Sure.
computer, and so. But we went all where Good Morning America and those kind of shows were calling. It was just a really, really kind of cool way to kickstart the business. I didn't have all the large online at the time, but I really got a lot of really, really good publicity, and we were able to capitalize on that. So I did that for several years, and I guess kind of what really got me interested in the franchising business. I've been in sales in furniture and B2B advertising and marketing and things like that. I think what really got me interested in the franchise model is that I made all the mistakes back then. With the franchise, they have a methodology to follow. They've kind of been through bumps in the road, and so they kind of, you can be an entrepreneur, but you have to be an entrepreneur that's willing to, take direction and learn from, past mistakes and the business model described. So I really like that because I really wish I would have had that model. I wouldn't have thrown so much money up against the wall, hoping to see what sticks with marketing and location and things like that.
Sure, sure, and I definitely want to dive more into that, Tim. And it's cool that not only did you have an Amish furniture business. I mean, who gets that experience? But even what you said might have been a failure. The fact that you ended up turning that into a ton of publicity and taking it to the internet, just man, that's an experience that, regardless of the financial outcome, that I'm sure you learned a lot from. Um, you said briefly that you did stand-up comedy and songwriting. So tell us about the songwriting. What are the types of music? What's going on there?
But country it was country music. I wrote a couple songs. One was called "Hillbilly Bartender," which was a very upbeat kind of song. Then the other was called "From Heaven Came an Angel," and that was I have a son that's special needs. Uh, Nonverbal autistic. He's 30 years old. And I wrote the song for him and other kids with disabilities and the parents that have been blessed to have kids, and raise those kids. And I love the song.
Yeah.
Both did really well as far as, I did some stuff where we sent them over to Europe and, Radio Free and Hillbilly Bartender was the number one country song in Italy for a few. I think it's just because of the low voice, they like opera and things like
Yeah.
so. And the other one charted on a Texas gospel country station, all because again um, it wasn't it was radio free, so it's not like the normal charts. But on that chart, I was actually one slot ahead of Brad Paisley was charting with "How Great Thou Art," and "From Heaven Came an Angel" was like one slot above. So that was pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
I didn't
Yeah,
make
that's
money,
great.
but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and sang out a couple times to the band and things like that. But things
Yeah.
happen. As far as comedy, I just got out of it because that was back in the '90s when every bar in the area had a comedy day, right? A comedy night,
Mhm.
and I emceed about 6 nights a week, and then they had middlers and headliners came in from all over the country, and the next step was to audition out of New York State travel. Well, I had to get home, and people don't realize the work and the effort that comedians put in before they make it. I mean, I'd actually seen Drew Carey down at the beginning when he was in
Oh
Cleveland
wow.
and
Yeah.
worked a couple times, and he put in a lot of work before he got to where he was. He put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. There's
Sure.
very few overnight successes. So, but yeah, the timing's been bad, but the experiences were priceless. Loved it.
Yeah. Well, if you can be brave enough to get up on stage and try to make people laugh, starting a business probably isn't as
Yeah.
scary, right? Absolutely.
Well, I always
Absolutely.
felt that was my favorite because I like kind of you get instant gratification. You know how you're doing when you're up on that stage by yourself. When you're singing and you're in a band, you have to worry about whether the drummer is going to show up for rehearsal or the guitar player, right?
Hmm.
When you're up there under those lights, it's you and the audience, and I kind of liked it that way. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Sure. That's awesome. And Luis, let's make sure let's find the links to the songs that Tim mentioned so we can post those with the podcast here. I think it'd be cool to have that. But Tim, for the sake of time, let's talk about where you are now and what you're doing. So obviously
Sure.
you've had Eagle Eye franchise coaching for over a decade now, and tell us how you got into that, and then what you do, and what your experience is there.
Yeah, I was the national director for a B2B advertising company out of Houston, Texas. We did shopping cart ads and things, right? So I did that for a while, and I just I really did. I enjoy the direct sales, the one call close scenarios, but I also like helping small businesses and people that want to get into small business. And like I said, I worked you know uh, a lot to try and make my business successful. And I would love to say that I'm a master innovator and I had it all figured out when I went on the internet. But to be perfectly honest, I was desperate. Right, I was losing money. I didn't know what to do, and I kind of I threw it out there, and I had no idea it would go where it went. But yeah, so I decided to get into business on my own. I looked at some different options, and I thought this would be a good one, to be able to help people that, not make the same mistakes that I made, and, help change people's lives, and get them where they want to be. So, that's
Yeah.
basically how I got into it.
And I saw on there that you're connected with FranServe, and so what made you go into this specific model, and doing the franchise consulting, and what led you to actually end up connecting with FranServe, because obviously everyone knows it's a big brand. It's probably I would
Right.
assume the biggest brand in the space, right? So how did
They
you end up with them?
have access to, I think, over, if not real close to 800 different franchises now, which I like. They have a great support system there. And I gravitated towards that. I talked to several other uh, businesses that are franchise consultants, businesses, and they just have a larger brand. Now, the thing I like about it, and you learn quickly, there's 800 choices, but you certainly can't be an expert on 800 brands, right? So you basically can pick and choose kind of, what you kind of have a knowledge of. I do a furniture brand and things like that. So there's different ones that you gravitate towards, and but if a candidate wants something different, you have the option to take them in another direction. So
Sure.
get choices, but you can't spread too thin, or you end up knowing just enough to be dangerous.
Yeah. How, you mentioned like the furniture piece. How much of your experience, and obviously, we talked about it, you've done a little bit of everything, right? Like how much of that plays into what you do now, and what are some of the things that you've kind of brought to your business that you feel like's helped you, guide your clients to kind of some of the directions that you lead them into?
Yeah, well, they always say you never lose. You either win or you learn, right? And that's how I feel. It's I've done some things that I'm pretty proud of that I felt that I could pass that on, but I've also made some mistakes, and I love to be able to pass that knowledge on to folks, and not only that, but get them involved with the franchisor and their representatives, and they can cross all the T's and dot all the I's, and kind of give them the skinny. I give them an overview, and then hand them over to the franchisor's representatives, and they can take it from there and give them the more operational stuff. That I can't answer. So it's good at being a relationship builder. The key is trying to build relationships not just with the candidates but with the franchisors as well. And it's really a trial and error process. I always tell people I'm a glorified appointment setter. Right? We used to have appointments when I in national advertising, and I think they were underappreciated because no matter what you do or how you handle the customer, at the bottom line, you're handing them off to somebody else, and
Sure.
you're hoping that they're going to do a great job. Some do a great job consistently, some may not, but it's a trial and error process, and you find your way. So this isn't like an overnight success business, the franchise consulting. This is something that you have to work at and try, and different. There's different lead sources and different ways to reach different people, and it's a thing. It's not easy, but it's rewarding. When you can get somebody to the finish line, and uh, you talk to them afterwards, and they're happy and they're successful, and recommend you to their friends. That's what it's about. So.
Sure, sure. Yeah, to me, you've been doing this, like we said, over a decade now. What's one or two, big success stories that you've had with clients that you still remember and talk about and kind of give you some fulfillment of doing the business?
Well, I'll tell you in general. I mean, when I first started in this business, I was thinking, okay, hey, I'm just going to get them in here. They're going to buy a business. They're going to pay cash. One thing you learn though is you get them through the process, and the more you can help guide them, you figure, they haven't done anything like this before. I'm a big
Sure.
meme. I love posting memes on my LinkedIn page, and I've always been that way because I just love these motivational memes. And one thing you notice about those things is unsuccessful people don't write them.
Yeah.
You know, pretty successful, whether they're coaches or philosophers or famous people, presidents, what have you. So I guess the what really makes me the happiest about the accomplishments is getting people from start to finish, and introduce them to folks that maybe think that they weren't qualified, and they don't really know. They come in, and they've got some disposable income, but they don't know where to put it. We find out where they're at, and then helping them get uh, some financing. There's several financing options out there for people they don't realize, and getting them through and getting them to the finish line, and then finding when they're signing for that business and they're opening the doors. That's a success story, regardless of the size. There's been different
Sure.
sizes, but it's just the old adage: a customer doesn't care how much you know how much you care. And I believe
Absolutely.
sales, and with this, the minute my life started changing and I started becoming successful, is when I acquired a servant's attitude. You know, and
Yeah.
I think the very beginning, when if you have a servant's attitude and you're out to help other people, everything else falls into place. If you're looking at it like, how much money can I make? This is all about me. What's this going to get for me? That's negative. That's just wrong thinking. That's you got to be a positive thinker, help other people, and everything else falls into place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tim, what are the brands that you're most excited about right now, or spaces, not necessarily brands, but what industries are you seeing a lot of traction, a lot of opportunity that you're pointing your clients to?
Right now, I just got back from Dallas, the Dallas area, and we were invited in, and we were learning about home brands, home improvement brands.
Yeah,
Uh,
and Neighborly's in Dallas, right? I think so.
neighborhood where we were. We were at their corporate headquarters, and was really interesting. But that's where it's at right now. I mean, home improvement and things like that, and it's really amazing when you see it up close and personal, and you look at item 19s and FDDs and things, and see the kind of money that some of these businesses that you would never imagine in a million years made that kind of money, but they do. I mean, they're very, very profitable, and all the neighborly brands are very good. And the nice thing about them is they offer just about everything because they're so powerful because they have so many brands. I mean, so logistics, insurance, health insurance, all those kinds of things, for the business owner. And I was really an eye opener to get that. I mean, I'd sat in on some different forums and discussions, but to be there at the facility and get to meet everybody and hear all that firsthand, that's exciting. And I
Yeah.
do more with the home improvement. I've been doing stuff with furniture, with American Freight. And you got to learn too that not every brand's going to be a home run. It's something like that. It's high risk, high reward. Everything's great when the sale comes through, but it's a long process, and you got to make sure that somebody has that disposable income that they can put into. So, yeah, that
Absolutely.
a lot of stuff now with non-medical and some things like that that are doing well too. Non-medical labs, they don't do the blood work. They're uh,
Sure.
different things like that is what I've really advertised, over the years,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I'm excited about brands. And after sitting in on those meetings, I'm really excited about them. I think they're going to make some people very, very happy.
Sure. Absolutely. Tim, hopefully we'll get to talk to you in May of 2024. If we talk next year, what will you have hoped to have accomplished? What are the big goals for the next year? And, what are the things that you're spending a lot of time on right now?
Well, I'm always looking to get my placements up, and that means I'm helping more people. In this business, if you're doing well, if you can get a placement a month, but I would like to, even do more than that, and folks, and just create some stability. I'm not getting any younger, so but you're never too old. That's another reason I like this. It's not really something that your age is gonna, unless all of a sudden I can't talk or communicate, which that would be a catastrophe for me if you knew me, me not be able to talk to people. That would just be horrible. But
Sure.
no, I think this is something that I think will serve me and my customers and candidates for a long time. So um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I enjoy, as long as you enjoy doing what you're doing, you're not working. So I
Absolutely.
uh,
Yeah. Well, Tim, I think we could probably talk for a long time today about all your experiences and definitely hear more about your unique background from songwriting to comedy to everything else. But we want to be respectful of your time. So we'll ask you to wrap us up with a elevator pitch for your business. And for anyone that's listened to me and Tim talk and for this episode, we appreciate you joining us. Hope you do next time. Tim, close us out whenever you're ready.
all right, sounds good. Yeah, basically, I'm in the business of helping other people, reach their plateaus and their dreams. A lot of people they want to be sedentary. They're happy where they're at. And for those people, congratulations, you're living a good life. But for the people there that have dreamt of doing something and being their own boss and owning their own business and living life on their own terms, that's what we help them do. You determine when you want to do it, and I'll help you find out how and how to reach for your dreams and pull them in and do what you want to do. I always say life's too short to live it on somebody else's terms. If you're not happy where you're at, or you feel that you're better served doing something else, you want more control over your life, your finances, your time with your family, there's something out there for you. And it's you don't pay a dime for my services at all. I come out, I help you, I'll help you. We'll look through things. If some don't work out, great, we'll find something else. But I'm not going to give up if you're not going to give up. As long as you don't give up on your dream and you want to find something that's going to make you and your family happy, that's what I'm all about. So I'll be there for you and help you however you can. Come visit me on my website, or you can give me a call anytime. You'll find me on LinkedIn under Tim Andrews. My company is Eagle Eye Coaching, and Eagle Eye Coaching 60 at Gmail is my email address. So come on board, check out my website, and If I can help you out, great. If you know anybody else I can help out, that's great too. And if not, hey, we'll have a good chat, and we'll still be friends, right?
Very
So,
good. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Tim, thanks again, man. We hope to talk to you again soon, and we appreciate you joining us.